Thank you very much, Sean. Okay, good morning, everybody, and you're all very welcome to my town, Dún Laoghaire. This town is proof of what happens when you have large, high-tech infrastructure investment. The town didn't exist. Like, we're in one of the oldest buildings in the town. Before this building was built, there was a little village, the village of Dún Laoghaire, and then what came along was the harbour. The harbour was built to solve a problem, a lot of shipwrecks in the bay. The harbour is impressive even today. It seems to have been built a lot faster than the project would be built if we set out to do it now. And then, after the harbour, a railway line was built in 1834, the first commuting railway line in the world. And those two pieces of infrastructure inspired the investment to build the town. So the town is a planned town. That's why the streets are all in a kind of a grid system. And it's entirely built, the whole town is built on technology, infrastructure investment. And you are involved in that, in technology and the development of new infrastructure. So I'm the Minister responsible for circular economy and procurement, as you said, and I'm here to tell you what the government is at when it comes to bioenergy, not talk about Dún Laoghaire. First thing is to be honest, we are bottom of the European League for renewable heat in Ireland at about 5 to 6%. I think the average is 25%. And some countries are at 50, like Denmark. So clearly, either this is a terrible thing or a great opportunity. So we'll go with the second one. So we have done well on renewable electricity. And if you ask people about climate action, ask Irish people about what's involved, I think the first things that come to mind are cleaning up the electricity system, and then farming, maybe second, and then transport and so on. We've actually done well on electricity. And we've done well on farming, better than was expected. So there was a lot of skepticism and a feeling we couldn't make progress, but farming has reduced its use of chemical fertilizer by 30% in the last 2 years, which is really impressive. And the whole farming is all about circular economy and efficiency and making use of what you've got. Where we haven't done so well is in heat and in transport. So those are your areas, and I want to talk about what the government is doing on that. The National Heat Study was carried out, which led to this target of 5.7 terawatt hours of biomethane by 2030 to be indigenously produced. And then the National Biomethane Study was published in May of this year, and that had 25 specific actions on it required to get to the 2030 target. They require multiple departments of government. We need my own department, Department of Environment, Climate Communications. We also need the Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, which I'm also a member of, and we need the Department of Transport, of course. The biomethane implementation group was then set up, and they have to make sure that the actions are carried out to meet the National Biomethane Strategy. They report to the Heat and Built Environment Task Force. So there are two major government supports have been identified from the National Biomethane Strategy. The first of these is the obligation on suppliers of heat to derive some of their energy from renewable heat, the renewable heat obligation. So I'm going to talk about that for a second. That is going to have a phased introduction over 3 years, and it will have an annual rate increase, which will lead to 10% of heat derived from renewable energy, and the strategy for that is going to be published by the end of this year. Second lever is direct capital grants. The Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine has issued a 40 million euro request for expressions of interest to early developers, and I understand that the Department of Environment is going to go in on that, is going to scale that up to achieve an extra 1.5 terawatt hours between 2026 and 2030. So I think that these actions are going to contribute towards an understanding from Irish industry and from the Irish general public that the country is committing towards that and has a realistic path towards reaching those 5.7 terawatt hours, and that we accept and acknowledge that we are not doing what other countries in Europe are doing, that we have so many farms, we have such a large agricultural sector, we have so much land that we are absolutely capable of reaching European averages for the delivery of heat. We have large infrastructure investments to be done, particularly in areas such as district heating, but we also have large capital allocations 14 billion euros in capital to be spent next year, for example, and a large infrastructure, climate and nature fund, and that these capital funds will reach 100 billion euros by 2035. So we have the money, we have the intention, we have the public strategies, we have the action plan, and we have people like you, we have an educated workforce to get there. So as Minister for Procurement, and I've delivered a number of green procurement strategies, I am curious to know how they fit with what you're doing, and whether you need changes in those procurement strategies. Are they favouring your sector, or are they favouring fossil fuels? If you've got suggestions for how they should be changed, I'd love to hear them. And with that said, I noticed that there are a lot of people from different sectors here today who are going to speak to you, from government agencies, Gas Networks Ireland and ESB and Bord na Móna. I had meetings with Gas Networks Ireland where they explained their strategy to decarbonise, to replace a lot of their gas with biomethane and some hydrogen. So I think that they will be critical to everything you're doing here today. So really, that's my message to you today. My door is open. Contact me if you've got ideas for what I should be doing. And I'm here to listen to the speakers for the next hour. Thank you.